Harry and Meghan are back at it again, being disaster tourists, because apparently they have nothing better to do than waste government time and resources, in this case, for the country of Jordan and the WHO and UN's time.
All they had to do was shut up and do nothing. And Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were probably going to get their best news cycle in years, because we know deep down they want to bring down the British royal family.
The World Health Organization, the government of Jordan, and others are making here is enormously appreciated. So thank you for coming. Why is a British ambassador welcoming them on a visit when Meghan Markle has trashed everything, and Harry, about the British government?
And she is now living in denial. She thinks she can somehow pick up the pieces of her shattered life and resume what she used to do, which was, ligging money off people, coming up with rubbish projects, borrowing money, being paid for, and just generally jet setting around the world freeloading. Well, nobody wants to know her anymore.
Why are these two going? How much does it cost for these two to go? And why do they keep allowing this to happen? I don't get it. Now, as you'll remember, they did, similar visits to Nigeria, Colombia. They love these faux royal tours to go out there to make it seem like they're, royals, when we all know they're not.
Why to visit Palestinian refugees, which we are not to take as any sort of reflection on their political ideologies, even though obviously visiting Gaza refugees does have a bit of a potential political ramification, especially when we know that Meghan is diehard liberal. So she is probably anti-Israel, maybe. I don't know.
She always knows where the camera is, doesn't she? Everybody's listening to this lady, Prince Harry, everybody. Meghan's eyes directly to the camera. And, but that smile, there's nothing to smile about. It is incredibly creepy.
Queen Rania of Jordan, one of the most photographed, most respected queens in the world, was in her own country this week, inside her own palace, living her own royal life. And somehow, she couldn't spare a single minute to greet Meghan Markle. Not 1 minute. That silence was loud. Meghan, the Duchess, and Prince Harry didn't exactly rush to explain that Jordan trip either, did they? That says plenty. Meanwhile, King Charles and Queen Camilla were out at St. James's Palace handing out awards, doing actual royal duties.
Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, and Prince Harry, we'll talk about their trip to Jordan. It wasn't full courtesy to the royals, because apparently the fact that they haven't met any main royal in Jordan, like Queen Rania of Jordan, or even the heir to the throne or whatever, it's a failure.
And people noticed something else. Charles didn't look well at all. The cameras caught it. The energy felt heavy. Now hold that thought, because in a second, we'll get into why Harry and Meghan are suddenly saying they're not taking sides in the Israel-Palestine situation. Notice the wording. Their team was very careful. They kept calling it a visit, not a tour. Why? Because a tour sounds official. A tour sounds royal. And they walked away from that life. They chose to step back.
Charles and Camilla were out at St. James's Palace yesterday, delivering awards. And of course, Charles, not looking well at all. Now, I'm going to get into just a moment why Harry and Meghan claim, they're not taking sides in the whole Israel-Palestine thing. Bullshit.
So now it's rebranded language, polished and safe, trying to blur the lines without crossing them. And Jordan? That wasn't some random dot on a map. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, actually grew up there. Her father worked in Jordan from 1984 to 1986. She spent part of her childhood in Amman. That country means something personal to the future Queen of the United Kingdom. When Prince William made an official visit to Jordan in 2018, he stood at the podium and spoke about how much the country meant to his wife.
Announced yesterday was this surprise trip to Jordan in partnership with the World Health Organization. Now, 1 week right after the arrest of Harry's uncle, ex-Prince Andrew, they are traveling to Jordan for this humanitarian visit to focus on global health and mental health support. Of course, these two morons apparently are helping the mental health of refugees. But yeah, they're there today. We have some reports on what they've been doing today, as well as they'll be there tomorrow February 26th. The royal family has been informed of the trip, of course, because they got to just poke them as much as they can, which comes 1 week after ex-Prince Andrew's arrest, and is being undertaken as a humanitarian visit in partnership with, as I said, the World Health Organization.
Queen Rania herself attended William and Catherine's wedding. There's history there, real connections. So when Meghan decided that of all places on earth, Jordan was the stop, and it happened right after William's high-profile visit to Saudi Arabia, people raised eyebrows.
These two grifters and fake have decided this is the moment to embark on a new fake royal tour, this time of the Middle East, where she's literally trying to claim she's the queen of the desert in Jordan.
That timing didn't feel random. It felt strategic, calculated, like a chess move, not a vacation. And here's where it gets even more interesting. King Abdullah II and Queen Rania did not meet them. Let that sink in their own country, fully aware Harry and Meghan were there. No palace welcome, no official handshake, no photo op, no statement, nothing, just silence.
Go through what has happened so far since they touched down in Jordan and visited a specialty hospital in Amman, where Meghan, very much in Diana mode, Diana wannabe mode, held hands with a 14-year-old Gaza refugee burns victim and talked to doctors. They also watched a music class at the Quest Scope Youth Centre at the Zatari refugee camp near Mafraq and took part in a football discussion. Then things get really bad because they're teaming up with Dr. Tedros. Now, Dr. Tedros, bloke who ran the World Health Organization during COVID, one of the worst people in the world, okay? Like, this is not the win that Prince Harry and Meghan think it is, but we'll get into that in a moment. First, let's just watch day one of Meghan pretending to be Princess Diana and Prince Harry thinking he's the one to save the royal family on this fake royal tour.
Some folks tried to say maybe it was a scheduling issue, busy calendars, prior commitments. Stop right there. We're talking about heads of state. If they wanted 5 minutes for a courtesy greeting, they would have made it happen. Royal calendars shift all the time for diplomacy. The absence wasn't accidental. It was noticeable. And in royal circles, what doesn't happen can speak louder than what does.
Beyond that, of course, it's just a lot of photo ops is ultimately what these appearances truly are. They get paid to go out and do photo ops and show that they're important when they're not. And Meghan Markle was snapped taking a penalty shot of football during a youth center visit in Jordan. Look at her getting down and dirty, kicking that ball. You go, girl. Oh, wait, I feel like we've seen this before. That's right. That's right. That's what Catherine was doing back in 2022. But anyway, the visit to Quest Scope Youth Center, this refugee camp, Meghan was snapped blasting a penalty past a young goalkeeper in the back of the net. She was laughing and smiling along the child refugees, many of whom have been displaced Syrians, delighted with the victory over her husband. She's taking a leaf out of Princess Kate's book, who's an actual princess, mind you.
These things do not happen by accident when someone still carries the title Duke and Duchess of Sussex, especially when that title is still sitting on the official royal family website. That name carries weight. If Queen Rania had wanted that meeting, it would have been arranged. Simple as that.
I've got so much to say about this, by the way, because Jordan, I'm sure you know, is also one of the happy places for Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, where she grew up. And Meghan is just cosplaying Diana here in a cringe and creepy way. The clear sort of messaging coming from Montecito is, we're the future. We're now going to be the real royals. But actually, all of us are looking at this like, what the hell? You have just involved yourself in the biggest geopolitical dispute in the world, which you know divides everyone, and you're doing it without a second thought.
There are formal protocols. There are direct lines between royal households. There are teams whose only job is to coordinate high-level appearances like this. So when no meeting happens, that's not oversight. That's intention. That decision came from the very top of the Jordanian royal circle. And here's the part people keep whispering about.
That Harry and Meghan were going to do a 2-day visit to Jordan. Why to visit Palestinian refugees, which we are not to take as any sort of reflection on their political ideologies, even though obviously visiting Gaza refugees does have a bit of a potential political ramification, especially when we know that Meghan is a diehard liberal. So she is probably anti-Israel, maybe. I don't know. But it's a distinct possibility. And when this news came out, I'm like, right, of course. You know, Prince William was just in Saudi Arabia a couple of weeks ago, and Harry and Meghan managed to arrange a Middle East visit themselves right after.
Meghan needed that photo. She needed to be seen beside established working royalty in a country deeply connected to Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales. That single image would have spoken volumes without anyone saying a word. We're still relevant. We're still part of the global royal conversation. We still belong at this table. That's powerful optics. And Queen Rania simply didn't play along. Calm, polished, unbothered. That's royal discipline. Online reactions came fast.
Meghan Markle couldn't even pass the foreign officer's exams test. And it's highly doubtful that she actually graduated from university because her picture at the Northwestern yearbook is not even there, in spite of the fact that they gave the students almost 2.5 weeks to schedule a time to get the picture taken. Allegedly, she's been very, very angry that the focus is on Prince Harry and not on her, in spite of her best efforts.
One commenter wrote, "Fairy telling at least one king knows how to treat these two," and it racked up hundreds of likes. Another said, "Queen Rania obviously could not be bothered with irrelevant fake royals." The tone was sharp, and the message was clear. Then came the soccer moment. While in Jordan, Meghan was photographed kicking a soccer ball during a visit to a youth refugee center. Within hours, literally hours, side-by-side images started circulating online, comparing it to Catherine doing a similar activity on a past royal visit. Same sporty pose, similar setting, different vibe, and people noticed immediately. But critics say it's not just the soccer ball. Prince William travels to Saudi Arabia. Days later, Harry and Meghan announce a Middle East trip. Catherine is publicly known for her childhood ties to Jordan. Meghan lands in Jordan.
They are pro-family, pro-children, and pro-peace and decency. None of those adjectives describe the couple at all. They are anti-family, anti-peace, anti-decency. Like, neither one of them don't have any decency whatsoever. Their continued humanitarian work has reflected this on a global, nonpartisan, non-politicized level. No, that's a lie. I think Philip Hall, the British ambassador, I think he sort of, let's say, misspoke and couldn't quite, let's say, articulate well what he meant, and maybe should have used a bit of a different language here, because people have utilized this statement to say that Charles is supporting this venture. He is not. The British government is not. Harry and Meghan were at a round table with multiple NGOs and government leaders in Jordan, and mostly like ambassadors and these sorts of things. So it wasn't like it was just, Harry and Meghan with the Brits or these sorts of things. So here's what he said. Your visit, and he said it to them, your visit, your support, your appreciation of the efforts that the United Nations, including, of course, the World Health Organization, the government of Jordan, and others are making here is enormously appreciated. So thank you for coming. So this must have been an opening remark. And what he does not say here, which is very, very critical, guys, and you will also see in this group shot, he is not seated next to them. If he was there and Harry and Meghan were there on behalf of the British government, he would be seated next to them.
Princess Diana was widely recognized for holding patients' hands in hospitals to show compassion. Meghan is photographed holding a patient's hand during a hospital visit, making sure cameras capture the moment. Coincidence? Strategy? That's what the internet keeps debating. And once those patterns get pointed out, the comparisons don't slow down. They multiply. This is not inspiration. This is not coincidence. This looks like someone who walked away from royal life, but still can't let it go. A woman trying to rebuild the same image, just on her own terms, with her own cameras, her own angles, her own spotlight.
Glaring warning sign to Charles that the titles need to be stripped from Harry and Meghan. They must be stripped. They have to be stripped because this cannot go on forever. them parading themselves around as if they're working royals when they're not, when they have nothing to offer, making their fans think that they're somehow competent in anything is a problem. And this is the exact wrong thing Charles needs right now. Now, according to reports, Harry and Meghan let the palace know that they were going to undertake this trip, but the palace can't stop them. The only thing the palace can do is the thing Charles refuses to do, which is strip his son of all his titles and his son and his grandchildren of their places in the line of succession because they don't need to be there.
And here's the twist. The harder she tries, the clearer it becomes. And the clearer it becomes, the more people compare. And those comparisons, they don't always land in her favor. Catherine, Princess of Wales, doesn't have to rehearse royalty. She doesn't have to stage it. She doesn't have to chase it. It's just there. That's the difference critics keep pointing out. Now this next part needs plain talk. Thomas Markle is 80 years old. He suffered a stroke. He's faced serious health battles.
She's part of many scandals, yet the palace is interceding on her behalf. So are we under any doubt that this is any different? Because why are they getting that? Harry and Meghan Markle would not be able to spot kindness or charity, even if it slapped them. Harry and Meghan Markle would not be able to spot kindness or charity, even if it slapped them. Harry used to pretend when he was back in the United Kingdom trying to be a prince. How about your father? How Harry just gave a little, hostage speech about Invictus Games and veterans with prosthetic legs. Why doesn't he give one to his father-in-law, Mr. Markle, who's 82 years old and just went through a traumatic operation? Why are they being thanked for being there? Well, Meghan Markle was flown with an entire team of hairdresser, private plane. Why? At whose expense? Who's paying for this absolute fakery? And people don't want to engage with her.
Recently, he had his leg amputated. He is recovering in the Philippines, reportedly without his daughter by his side. At the same time, Meghan was in Jordan visiting a hospital, standing beside a 14-year-old refugee patient, holding the child's hand while cameras flashed. The images were polished, carefully framed, compassion on display. And online? People reacted fast. One viewer wrote, "She can fly to Jordan, but she cannot fly to the Philippines."
It's obvious that they are going out there for their own selfish reasons. They are going out there to go on a promotional tour. They are taking advantage of the fact the royal family are having a bit of a rough time at the moment. And like you said, Meghan doing the Diana thing, holding the girl's hand as she's in bed. It's so fake because we've seen the real Meghan. We've seen the way she treats her father. Harry stood there in one of the photographs holding a prosthetic leg. I find that a bit distasteful given the fact that Thomas Markle's due to be fitted for one himself and those two don't even think about him. You cannot treat your family the way that they do and then try and convince the world that you care about anybody or anything other than yourself.
Another commented, "Donated money for prosthetics for strangers, not for her own dad." Those posts gained huge engagement because people connect dots quickly. Then came the detail that really hit hard for many observers. While Meghan was photographed near medical equipment and prosthetic limbs in that Jordan hospital, appearing solemn, empathetic, supportive, reports were circulating that her own father was being fitted for a prosthetic after losing his leg. That contrast sparked emotional reactions online.
But actually, Tash, what I was going to say is that I still really sense a deep unhappiness when I see Harry in a lot of these pictures, you know. And the fact that they have had to rely on him to make this visit happen says a huge amount. Now, in their briefing to the mainstream media, which we'll get to shortly, Harry and Meghan insisted that they had informed Buckingham Palace of their visit. Oh, big hug from Dr. Tedros. God, these two are completely delusional. They have no idea what they're doing here. They have no idea that Dr. Tedros would have to be so desperate to want them there.
Some argue compassion abroad doesn't cancel private family issues. Others say public empathy feels complicated when personal relationships appear distant. Either way, the optics were powerful, and optics matter in public life. No PR team, no carefully structured visit, No perfectly tailored white blazer can silence that kind of debate once it starts. Public compassion can be photographed. Family dynamics? Those are different. People form opinions based on what they see and what they don't see. Then came the moment that truly sent royal watchers into overdrive.
Andrew being removed from the line of succession. And this is very important. This is important for the country, and it's important for the king and the royal family, because unless King Charles and his family, if you like, successfully project the truth that Andrew is now nothing to do with them, is not connected to them in any way.
The British ambassador to Jordan, Peter Hall, greeted Harry and Meghan upon arrival. He welcomed them publicly, thanked them on camera. They were even received at his official residence, the British ambassador's residence. Now here's where it gets interesting. Harry and Meghan's team reportedly told UK journalists this Middle East trip had nothing to do with the British government, that it did not represent the crown, that the palace was merely informed as a courtesy, and yet the British ambassador rolled out formal hospitality. So people started asking questions. Did Peter Hall act independently, or did someone somewhere within the British establishment quietly approve this reception?
Oh gosh, he looks like he's had the living life sucked out of him. He looks utterly miserable. There's no light in his eyes. He's perpetually angry. He's perpetually unhappy. He looks drained. He looks exhausted. He looks like he hasn't slept in a week. But then even when he was at the celebrity all-star basketball court, yes, he was fine when the cameras got in his face and Meghan tapped and rubbed his arm furiously like he was a genie in a lamp. And then he put on a face and was like, oh yes, we're so in love. We're so in love. But when those moments happened, when they didn't realize that the cameras weren't on them, when they didn't realize, Harry has the exact same look. He looks traumatized. He looks completely exhausted all of the time. He looks very, very unhappy.
Because ambassadors don't just freelance high-profile welcomes without awareness. That's the layer that pushed the conversation into high gear. Not just the photos, not just the comparisons, but the signals behind the scenes. And if that's true, if someone quietly opened that diplomatic door, then the people asking why King Charles hasn't stripped those titles might finally have their answer. Because here's the reality. As long as Harry is called the Duke of Sussex, as long as that title sits beside his name on official records, doors will open, ambassadors will greet him, countries will host him, organizations will offer him seats at powerful tables. Not because of what he's built on his own, but because that title still carries royal weight. And Charles knows that. He has always known that, which is why many believe he cannot bring himself to take it away.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, they're on a surprise humanitarian visit to Jordan. Kinsey, tell me more.
Rita, I think that this is going to be a much bigger story. According to Honest Reporting, Prince Harry and Meghan met refugees and aid workers to spotlight relief efforts.
Because somewhere deep down, King Charles III may still believe his son is coming back, that this chapter is temporary, that the door to home stays cracked open just in case. That possibility changes everything. But here's the part that has people genuinely confused. Let's talk about Harry for a second. Not with anger, not with mockery, but with real bewilderment. This is a man who walked away from one of the most extraordinary platforms in the world. Royal access, global influence, the Invictus Games, direct lines to world leaders, charities at his fingertips, causes he could champion with unmatched reach. He said the system was toxic. He said it was suffocating. He said he needed freedom. And now? He's in Jordan at a WHO conference table while cameras focus on his wife taking penalty shots at a youth center. He's photographed observing hospital visits, standing slightly behind, watching the moment unfold. Many viewers online pointed out how different he looks compared to 9 years ago.
This is a very, very ill man. And if you look at some of the pictures of him this week at the Carers event at Buckingham Palace, where he attended alongside Queen Camilla and Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, it's very obvious that this is a man who is really struggling health-wise to perform, and he doesn't want that to be on the agenda.
One comment that gained huge traction read, "All partners of a narcissist have that tired, sad, haunted look." That opinion spread fast. Whether fair or harsh, it shows how people are reading those photos. The Harry from nearly a decade ago, smiling, confident, deeply embedded in royal life, feels worlds away from the man seen in those Jordan images. That contrast is what people can't stop talking about. He wanted independence. He wanted space. And what he has now looks very different from what many expected. And here's the larger shadow hanging over all of this: King Charles's health.
Ask Thomas Markle, ask Prince William, ask Queen Camilla, ask King Charles. It's laughable. They are delusional. There's no matching up. There's no connection, Tash, between their personal lives and what they see as their professional lives.
No, I mean, it's almost like they live in an alternate reality. They're famous, they're infamous for the destruction that they caused to the royal family. The biggest destruction, I guess, that happened, or at least tried to happen to them since the abdication. And we know that the problem was that they lied. So much of what they did was lies, and so much of what they did had monetary gain out of it. They did it for financial reasons.
Recent footage has concerned longtime royal watchers. He hasn't looked strong. He hasn't looked steady. And when the monarch's health becomes a question mark, every move, every title, every diplomatic signal takes on heavier meaning. Because if the king is unwell and the titles remain untouched and ambassadors still roll out welcome mats, then this isn't just about Jordan anymore. It's about succession, strategy, and what the monarchy looks like in the years ahead. Andrew has just been arrested. Sarah Ferguson is reportedly keeping a low profile in Switzerland. The monarchy is facing one of the biggest storms it has seen since the abdication crisis. And right in the middle of that chaos.
And guys, we do actually have a little bit of what I would argue is sort of a disturbing update to this story, because Harry and Meghan on their website have claimed that not only did they get to visit with embassy staff, they were at a reception at the British ambassador's residence. This should not be happening. Again, it confuses. And it's frustrating that the ambassador didn't address this, didn't figure this out, didn't run them by a palace or whatever. Or maybe he did. But again, if Harry and Meghan are not being welcomed back, you need to cut them loose.
Harry and Meghan flew to Jordan. Catherine's Jordan. Queen Rania's Jordan, cameras rolling, multiple outfit changes, a polished PR operation sending nearly identical briefings to People magazine and Town and Country. The optics were sharp, calculated, deliberate. And King Charles? Silence. No public statement, no movement on the titles, no formal distancing. Instead, a British ambassador welcoming them into his official residence. As long as those Duke and Duchess titles remain untouched, Meghan can stand in Jordan, in a country closely tied to the Prince and Princess of Wales, and be received with the weight of royal branding behind her.
He's a shell of the person that he was. He looks unwell. He doesn't look healthy. His skin doesn't look healthy. His eyes do not look healthy. He just looks angry all of the time. And I've got no sympathy for him after the way he's treated everybody. I mean, the fact that I've never understood really how he can have all of this compassion for people and when he does these videos. But what about your grandmother when she was dying of bone cancer? What about your grandfather? You were laughing on Oprah, knowing that you have just thrown an atomic bomb over the royal family and your grandfather was dying.
Critics argue that without the title, the reception looks very different. Supporters say the titles are part of constitutional structure and not easily removed. But one thing is clear: the longer they remain, the more these moments happen. Now here's the question royal watchers are debating hard. Does Charles act at some point? Or does that responsibility fall to Prince William one day? because many believe William would take a firmer approach. That possibility hangs in the background of every trip, every photo, every handshake. And here's the final point to sit with.
And Harry and Meghan going to another country, pretending like they're royals when they're not. And they're doing it literally like days after Prince Andrew, ex-Prince Andrew, was arrested because they want to just really cause that stress in the royal family.
Queen Rania of Jordan, longtime ally of the British royal family, guest at William and Catherine's wedding, publicly connected to them for years, was in her own country this week, and she chose not to meet Meghan Markle. That decision spoke volumes without a single press release. So what do you think? Was Queen Rania right to keep her distance? Yes or no? Drop your view below. Every perspective adds to this conversation. If this breakdown gave you angles the mainstream headlines skipped, subscribe and stay locked in. No palace spin, no rehearsed scripts, just sharp analysis on what's unfolding inside one of the most watched families in the world.